It's scary, right? How fast it went by. Or there was the one where it was like New Year's in 2020, and it was like December 32nd.
Yeah.
Like it just went to fucking end. Yeah, that was a nightmare, but
I mean,
here we are.
We're still, it's still going on, and it's
know.
worse now.
Yeah, well, the Delta thing. On that note, hey everybody, welcome to another episode. We got Peter back here, but fun update actually is that you're now 2 weeks into working at the school that I'm at.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
It was stressful, and well, I'm a person who is really self-conscious and takes things very seriously, so I wanted to make sure that I was doing the best job that I could, and I took it to heart and did not give myself too much leeway.
Yeah, man, you're really hard on yourself. Well, first off, let's just address how weird it is that I'm your chair / mentor / instructional coach. It's very weird, but I think it's going okay so far. But yeah, you've definitely been hard on yourself. You're probably way ahead of where I was in my first year. I can't remember. It was a blur.
So.
I repressed it.
I don't think so. Probably not. But it's been an adjustment. Taking 4 years.
Was it really 4 full years?
4 full years, yeah, working in the nonprofit world.
Huh.
Really, yeah, was a long time. But, there's things that you don't forget. And definitely in terms of, those constant checks, when you're talking to kids and
sure,
following up and stuff like that.
Well, we called it intentionality when we had our post-observation meeting.
Yeah.
Or we'll call it coaching, not observation. But yeah, that's something that takes, time and comfort, and it's routine, and probably partly anxiety for me. It's like I don't want any question about what they should be doing. Yeah. Which reminds me, if anyone's listening, if it sounds like I sound like shit, it's because my throat is still killing me. I lost my voice like all of last week from like allergies mixed with football practice.
A lot of talking, a lot of yelling.
Yeah. Well, through the mask, and it's dry.
Yeah.
And then, the football game, it was really bad. So if you ever don't, but if you listen to the last episode that I did, there's a point where I got like kind of into it, and it's just like, came out like that. Like it was not like, not quite Barry White, but
like, smoke a pack of cigarettes a day.
Yeah, it sounded like I had emphysema just on a podcast. So that said, the fact that I'm like partly wheezing right now, I apologize. I promise it's not the norm. Like, listen to this. It's not normal. So it's not normal for me, at least. It's for some people. I'm not trying to diss anybody that has that, but sorry. Anyways, so I'm dying a little bit, but your first 2 weeks, made it through. It took forever.
Yeah.
Why did it take so? We gave you the offer in like May or June.
June, the second week of June. I mean, it was conditional on some things, but then, the bureaucracy of a large school district.
And we can say CPS.
CPS.
I've been calling CPS out everywhere, so we can call it out. They take forever. They're slow. What the fuck?
And as you guys might remember, I'm Greek. If you guys, watch SNL and know any modern Greek stereotypes, you all should know that, Tina Fey makes fun of Greek bureaucracy and how terrible it is. And I have to say, CPS might be on par with it.
It was so brutal. It got to a point where we were calling, emailing every single day. And they're like, well, we have to do this. And we're like, okay, we did it. And they're like, well, there's also this step. We did that too. And they're like, well, there's this new step. And we're like, you didn't tell us that.
Yeah, at one point, the other teacher who was in the position before, on teacher week, had to then go and apply for the job that he already
had. Yeah.
So, yeah, CPS is crazy. But I mean, I guess big company bureaucracy, that happens.
I guess. Yeah, well, and, it worked out because now I've surrounded myself with people that you all owe me a blood oath. If I was your interview person, like I've got Adam as my co-teacher and brought him in, so blood oath for sure. Now you.
Yeah.
I'm just going to build an army.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been friends for, Jesus Christ, 6 years now? 7 years?
Something like that. Well, what was it?
7
Grad school, 2015, 2020. Yeah, we'll round
years.
up.
7
years.
years.
I consider the start to finish, that thing. Yeah.
I mean, that was interesting. I mean, right now, 6 years ago, we would have started Leon's class.
Yeah, around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the long Gilded Age.
Oh my god.
We just all had to kiss ass as we read his book and critiqued it in his discussion section.
Yeah.
For 3 hours.
I mean, what a pompous asshole to have you buy his book that had just come out. He pulled it out of the publisher's box.
Did he really?
Gave it to us. Yeah, and we had to pay him like $40.
Spot. Like, this isn't in the bookstores, guys.
I gave him a check from Peter, my last name.
I wonder, like,
made out to Leon.
I think we should read it again and see if we appreciate it more than we did in the moment when we were considering if we were actually literate.
Yeah.
Or if we thought we were dumb because he made us question both.
Honest
I don't know.
To God.
Either one. Possible for either one. But
I think I still have it. Do you still have it?
I might. Repressed in my memory. No, I probably have a copy too. Yeah, I might have both.
I remember you were selling, you sold a lot of your books though.
I sold a lot because, I was also, second semester I lived back home because student teaching.
Second year.
Second year. You're right. Second year. Yeah, desperate for money because you couldn't fucking work during student teaching.
Yeah.
So.
I did work during student teaching. I worked 2 jobs. I would not recommend it.
How'd you pull it off? Did you just never sleep?
I just, never slept.
Well, so how about now? So, like, now you're back in the swing of things for the first time in years, and, you got to, plan stuff. But you're also still, because it took so long to onboard, you couldn't do a real 2 weeks notice, so you're still working at the old job in air quotes. What's that time frame like? That's crazy. You're never gonna just have one.
Honest to God, and at that point with them, they never really had any other staff besides 2 people, and then they fired my incredible colleague, and then gave me a administrative assistant who was
someone that couldn't print.
Yeah, someone that didn't know how to print or call a number to fix a printer. And I just found out my IT guy sent me a text of a login that was on my top desk drawer that she claimed she could not find.
Nice.
Yeah.
Aren't you glad you're leaving?
So, yeah.
What was that like to put in your 2 weeks? Because you didn't start until Wednesday?
I didn't start until...
So the kids had 2... Or did you start Thursday?
I started Wednesday.
Okay, so the kids were there Monday, Tuesday with a sub. They thought you were sub for a little bit, but what was it like giving the 2 weeks notice? I feel like everyone has a 2 week notice or a fire or a quitting dream or fantasy.
Yeah, so it was it was at a Starbucks in Mariano's, which is a supermarket here in Chicago chain. And my former boss, or I guess whatever you want to call it,
right,
was just dead shock. And this is a former investment banker, big shot, who's always wielding and dealing, like Donald Trump. And he was speechless, because he just never thought that I would leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he was a delicate soul, very much like Donald Trump. Trump.
Small hands. Does he have small hands?
He was a shorter guy. He was shorter than me, and he was shorter than my former colleague, who was a woman. So that really rubbed him the wrong way.
What's like the Greek version of like Napoleon? Syndrome or complex? What do you even call it? Complex?
Yeah, Napoleon complex. I don't know. The funny thing is, he's not even Greek. He was married to a Greek.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he respected the decision, right? And, you offered to do weekends to get the 2 weeks time in. And so that was flexible, right?
I was very, I think, diplomatic in that sense, and to my detriment, to be honest.
Well, I mean, how's the so like just focusing on the teaching part, how's the balance of that been? I know it was, a little touch and go there because it's a muscle that you haven't used in a bit, but what about now?
Yeah, it's getting better, but it's still stressful. It's still requires that exercise.
Sure.
It's going to take a little bit, but I think the more I do it, the more, it'll be okay.
Sure.
And I'm trying to be confident, but I'm always beating myself up. I want to make sure that I'm doing as good as I can. But I think putting on a face of confidence, if I just keep pushing, keep working, keep trying to improve, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
My first 6 days, 7 days.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're definitely hard on yourself because you got to figure too. I mean, not that it's a bad thing, but it's been a little while, and it is a muscle you got to get used to. But you're also making a lot of important strides. But you did have your first did you write it up in Aspen today?
Oh no, I didn't. I have to do that tomorrow.
So, working on a Saturday. So sorry. Because I'm thinking about it, and it's not funny, but there's at a certain point you got to laugh at it. But what happened? What happened today with the kid that you were telling me about?
So this week we finally imposed tardy rules, and it's always important to stick with your rules. And I haven't done a good job with that, so I'm starting to do that more now. And I have a sign on my door that says, if you're tardy, get a pass. If you have a pass, politely knock and come in. I had a group of girls who did not have a pass. And they said, I'm just 1 minute. I'm just 1 minute late. Come on, let me in. Let me in. No, please go get a pass. Please go get a pass.
Never fails.
Are you seriously not going to let me in? Are you serious right now?
Just causing more disruptions every single time.
Go ahead, get a pass, and I'll see you back here when you have your pass. And then one girl, as she's walking away, flips me off.
In that moment when, sorry, I haven't seen that in a while. What do you do in that moment? I'm sure other students saw, but what did you do in that moment?
I don't know if they saw because the door was closed.
Oh, it was down the hallway because
it was down the hallway.
That alcove.
Yeah. And she probably didn't even think that I would have saw. Maybe.
Sure.
But I mean, it was right after I told them to go ahead and go get a pass. So
right.
Who knows? But anyway, I saw. So they came back with a security guard who wrote them their tardy pass. And I said to the security guard, take this student down to the dean, please.
Yeah, you kind of, at that point, it's not worth it at that point. Yeah. Especially because, you're in your first, year, and it's just, you can't have that situation, and it never goes well when you try to handle it.
Yeah.
So, but.
And I forgot to tell you, when they came in, they were like, damn, the other two girls. And, everybody's like, where's the girl? Where's the girl? And they're like, he just sent her down to the dean. And they were like, why? She was like, they flipped him off. And then she was like, but then the other girls, well, we flipped you off too. We flipped you off too. And I said, did you?
What?
Did you? Because I only saw it was her.
They thought that would help the friend.
They thought that would help the friend. I was like, okay, so you guys did flip me off. Then I should probably send you guys down to the dean. And then they're like, no, we didn't.
Not the best logic. Oh, well, I mean, a little fun from them, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're trying to help their friend,
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't send all three of them down if the three of them did it.
Right.
But I mean, if all three of them did it, I would have.
Yeah,
I probably would have made sure that they go get the tardy pass, and when the security guard brought them back, I would have told the security guard, take all three of them.
Right. But I mean, aside from, you have a challenging space too. By the way, you're in an alcove. There's you in a bathroom. Do you ever hear flushing?
I hear flushing. I smell weed. It's just yeah.
Yeah, that's the place.
Yeah.
It definitely gets loud.
Yeah. In fact, I just told Mixon today. I said, "Hey, if I smell weed, should I just call you over here?" And she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you should probably do that."
I thought it was gonna end there. Oh, that was the end of it. Yeah, I never know what to do because you're supposed to stop them, but again,
I'm not about to step in the girls' bathroom.
No, Well, yeah, you can't. But it's also, it's
Yeah.
so easy to sneak stuff in, of course, and then the bathroom is the main place. There used to be a little landing on like the 5th floor, and that's where it was like all sorts of like terrible things would happen.
Oh my God.
But now it's right by you. So are you ever in
Nice.
like a really, sorry, I just picture like you're in like a really important topic. You're talking about like women's reproductive rights or something like that. And you like pause for effect, and then you just hear just a toilet flush, or just like someone rip ass or some shit.
Just hear the toilet blow up.
Well, you for sure have all the scents, you know,
Oh,
between
yeah.
you know loud scents, but also
Smell. Sense of smell.
stinky scents.
Oh yeah.
That's mine. I don't think I could if I were a female student and that was my class, I could never go to the bathroom during that period. 'Cause
no.
I don't want people to know how long I'm in there, because I don't want them to know I poop.
Yeah.
I just
Exactly.
That's like social suicide. And as far as me as a teacher, I don't think a student has ever witnessed me walk into the staff bathroom.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't want them to know, because what if
Yeah.
they're roaming the halls and then I'm in there for more than 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Then they know.
They know.
Can't let it happen.
They know. I mean, some teachers though have like their what do you call it? Their
the
their
poop
routine.
version of a circadian rhythm.
Yeah,
Their bowel rhythm. I don't know.
And it's funny because I'm down the hall from the staff bathroom, so I know people's habits now.
Wait, but have you found out mine?
I haven't.
Ah, see, there you
No,
go.
I haven't.
Well, okay, without any
But if I had to guess, it's second period.
see, that's the thing. I don't know what it is this year. I really don't know. So without saying names, what subject teachers do you know their routine, their schedule, their morning meeting?
It's their afternoon meeting,
Okay.
and it's a social studies instructional teacher.
Nice. All right. What's his time frame?
It's is it sixth period? I think it's sixth period.
Asked him out like, hey,
Yeah.
man, do you happen to shit during
Yeah.
sixth period?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a good one. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's one.
Or yeah. So that who else? No, that's the only one actually.
That's the only one we need.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, I want a full report by the end of the year.
Yeah. But because I have class that period, I can't tell what number it is, if it's 1 or 2.
We're assuming 2.
Yeah.
That's a very specific time of day. You can hold other stuff,
Yeah.
but after lunch, it's probably something else.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on your schedule. I mean, at Panhellenic, whoops.
And they're not going to look it up. You're fine.
No, fuck them.
I'm a the listener, but yeah, you can say it.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
them. At Panhellenic, I mean, it was always at 1 o'clock for me for some
Really?
reason.
And you didn't have any pressure of like a schedule. It's
No,
just an office.
no. I mean, it was like,
You're going to miss that.
yeah,
Because I never had a, well, I
I
guess I
know.
have, but I haven't had a job like that in a long time. And I miss that.
I know. I was thinking about that because I could have my 1 o'clock meeting,
Yeah.
at 1 o'clock if I want to.
Well, it sucks when it's like sometimes you have to like, sometimes it's off schedule.
Yeah,
It happens, right? Or if you're adjusting to your
Yeah,
schedule,
yeah.
that's a pain in the ass.
it depends. I mean, it depends. No, it's funny because now that I think about it, actually, the last meeting I scheduled, they wanted to have it at 1. And
You had
I
to
was
say
like,
no.
No, 1:30
Oh, sir.
works for me.
I have a conflicting meeting to get to.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, that definitely sucks. Well, it sucks too when you have a class in 4 minutes and you're like, do I want to suffer in class or do I want to stress and rush?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Might as
To
well
get it done.
suffer in class.
I can't do it. Well, you talked about in like one of our first episodes of the podcast is that you get to like if you had to fart. Do you remember this? You said that you would get to like a really loud moment and you would like run around.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and dust crop the kids.
Yeah, I would do that.
So is that strategy coming back? That was when you were a student teacher. So now is that coming back?
Well, I lectured a lot more then. I don't lecture now.
Sure. Well, that was the
Yeah.
style of the curriculum you had, right?
Yeah, that was that style. So
You have a loud AC unit though, so
yeah, I could just go stand by the AC, but
There you
then
go.
it might blow into the kids.
Yeah, that's what we want though. We want to get. I just put some air fresheners in my AC. That is your equivalent.
No, I mean I did tell them though. I told
Peter freshener. Peter freshener. You told them you were shitting.
No, I told the kids. I said, if you guys, I mean, this is a procedure. If you guys need to fart, take a
Sorry.
Kleenex and go outside. I don't want you smelling up my room.
Oh, like the tissues just to like distract, make it seem like it's something else.
Exactly.
Nice. What they said, I'm sure they had it.
Yeah, they started laughing. Yeah.
I'll be honest. We talked about procedures. I did not do procedures on farting, so I commend you for that. You're definitely ahead of me now. First year versus fifth year.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if they comply. But I told them, you need to fart. Take a Kleenex and go outside.
You're gonna be out of Kleenexes pretty soon.
Yeah.
I mean, you got like 1,000 windows in that classroom.
Yeah, I could just open up the window.
Yeah. If you need to fart, open up all 65 windows in this room.
Yeah, like I told Ryan, it's my corner. I have a corner office.
There you go. Yeah.
All the windows.
Well, so did you get those barriers up, by the way, that we started putting
Yeah,
up?
I got all the barriers up, and they took them all down because we were doing group work. And
yeah. Well, yeah, it is what it is.
yeah.
Well, that's good. We got them up. Do you feel like the room is more, your classroom is more your own now after a couple weeks, or you still want stuff that you haven't had a chance to do?
No, I don't feel like the room's my room yet.
Sure.
Yeah.
It takes time.
And it's simply because I just have not had a chance to set it up.
Right.
You know?
Even though, well, you stay later than, so like when I am done with my teaching duties, I try to cut it off at about 3:45 or so, and then I have to go coach. You're still doing your teaching stuff till like 6. I had to call you and be like, go home.
Yeah.
And then I was still like getting changed back into street clothes. And I just was like, I'm going to stop by. If he's still there, I'm going to tell him to go home.
Yeah.
You were still there.
I mean, it's because I'm lesson planning for the next day because because I started so late, I'm still not synced up.
Sure.
And also I'm stressing
Sure.
about those lesson plans, whether they make sense, and then I'm doubting myself, and so I'm going back and forth. But I'm also looking at unit plans. I'm looking at things online as well, like
Sure.
other unit plans, trying to figure out what I want to do.
Is it overwhelming because there's so much out there, or what's the main thing that's like a stressor?
I think because there's so much, well, there's definitely so much out there, but I think I want to make sure that I have lesson plans and a unit plan that aligns with kind of with the mission of the school. So
Sure. An adjustment for sure.
Reading, definitely reading and, reading based, which I'm all for because I'm a huge history nerd and I'm very much into, asking big questions.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one time I'll toot my horn. I never toot my horn, but remember, like in History 500 in Robert's class, Robert couldn't get over how great my essential questions were. My objectives with Julie, that was a whole different story.
He struggled with those?
Yeah, I struggled with those. Breaking it down.
Right, because she wanted it wasn't just what are they doing, but how. Yeah,
in breaking down that higher order of thinking too.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time breaking it down to lower order thinking and building it up to higher order thinking,
which is hard to do.
Yeah.
So looking at you as a student teacher, that's a whole different vibe from like I am the guy.
Yeah.
Like even something like when you're a student teacher and you are like borrowing their desk versus like this is actually my stuff. What was that like? Was it a little surreal? Was it weird? Was it terrifying? Were you like, all right, finally? Or like, what was that?
No, I mean, I've had my own desk for 4 years. So
True.
This is just now my school desk.
Yeah.
It still isn't my own because I haven't had a chance to put my statue of Julius Caesar where I put pencils in his back.
Sure. Well, more so just the like I am like there's no one to answer to. I remember my thing was I always had to, and I've had great like mentors with internships and things like that, but I also had some that I had to ask before I could pretty much do anything.
Really?
And it was nice to not have to answer to, I'm just going to say it, someone's ego.
Yeah.
Or someone that just has to be their way or the highway, and they don't want you to develop into the teacher you want to be.
Yeah.
So, and granted, it's been some time, but what's that like knowing that like now, even though there's stuff that you still have to do and fulfill,
Yeah.
you're really only answering to yourself as that teacher in the room.
As that teacher. Yeah. I mean, well, first off, with my student teaching, I was really lucky. I had a great mentor teacher. George was unbelievable. And he encouraged me to do everything independent. He was just there as an advisor for me.
Right.
Of course, he, in terms of curriculum, the best way in terms of procedures for the kids, because I had similar kids in my student teaching school. We stuck with his curriculum a little bit. I was able to add some lesson plans for my honors kids and stuff like that and do some fun stuff, DBQ stuff. But we kind of stuck with the curriculum, also because I had a co-teacher who needed to stick.
Right.
But so I did kind of stick with that in that, but I did my own stuff too. But George, in terms of letting the room be mine,
Sure,
it was mine, and then I handed it back to him, and there was like a transition period. It was interesting that he set up. He's very much into procedures, and that was a procedure. Yeah. But now it's interesting because I mean it's my own room, and now I'm the one calling the shots. So it's a little intimidating.
Sure,
but
yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah. Well, I think the big thing too, you pointed out some of the procedures you did at your student teaching school, which were established, right?
Yeah.
So we took over in the spring as student teachers back in the day, versus now you have to set up those, and it takes forever. Have you put in a lot of those procedures from when you were a student teacher into your classroom, or have you tried and it hasn't necessarily gone well, or like how much or how little do you plan to do of that?
Yeah. A couple of them I've put in place and I plan on keeping, but a couple of them just have not worked. And I've rolled back.
This is based on student.
This is
feedback,
based
right?
on student feedback. They really didn't take it well, but
they didn't like the 1, 2, 3 thing.
Yeah, they didn't like the Harry Wong's.
Sorry, I forgot about Harry Wong.
Yeah, Harry Wong. Yeah, Harry Wong's 2, 3, 4. Go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's from Harry Wong. Really,
that's from
the
Harry
first
Wong.
days of school. I haven't read that in such a long time. Great name for education.
Yeah, I know. When George was telling me, I suppressed laughter so hard.
Right.
He's like, it's all Harry Wong.
Now here's what you do. You want to get those kids invested? You say this is a Harry Wong pillar of success.
No, I mean George puts it on his door. It's like interests. He puts Harry Wong procedures. So
oh no.
Yeah, no, I know. But I mean one thing that I was considering today is I'm going to have a heart-to-heart with my kids, and one thing that they're doing is when we're working in groups, they're getting up and going to other groups, like to go blow their nose or something. And I'm going to have a heart-to-heart with them and say, if you are distracting other groups during group work,
sure,
we're going to have to reimpose hand procedures to get up and move around the classroom.
Right, which is like a good compromise. The big thing is just distractions, right?
Yeah.
Have you thought about, because I think I challenged you a little bit on like the, keeping them in their seat thing. Have you thought about like utilizing more movement? I know you did the stand and declare 4 corners thing, but where are you at with like your comfort with having movement in the classroom?
Yeah. I'm still not so comfortable with it. But I mean, the 4 corners thing worked okay with all my classes, my honors and regular kids. Granted, those were just my civics classes, and
still,
yeah. And
those
are juniors.
I can't claim much of the success for them because I had them all online. Like normally, I'm like, "Yep, I've got them. They're good to go." But
yeah,
it's really a toss up for the kids from last year that were sophomores and now we're juniors.
Yeah. But they did it okay.
Sure.
You know, they did talk, a little bit, and there were some distractions, but I think we had a good conversation. What do you think? Because you were there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that it was a good discussion. I thought a lot of kids were engaged. It was, and the thing that we talked about was more just making sure everyone knows, like, here's what we should be doing when someone else is speaking and stuff.
Yeah.
But again, it's stuff that, like, that's overwhelming to take care of. Your co-teacher in the room wasn't doing any favors for you. Like, just truly a body in the room. So I thought it went fine. And you were like, that was terrible. And I was like, it really wasn't. So that's encouraging. But, well, like last little thing, because I'm curious, because now that you're also a teacher too, we talked about having like a periodic like co-host thing, which would be pretty awesome if you're open to it. But I asked Adam this too, but having me, which also another layer, I'm someone that you know as your interviewer.
Mm-hmm.
My principal was like, you kind of put him through the ringer a little more than everybody else. And I was like, I mean, I kind of had to be more objective. But what was it actually like getting interviewed by me in a non like podcast, like this is like for a job situation?
No, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, granted, you have to think, so this was 2 weeks before. This was a week before my gala for work, so
right, a stressful time.
I was interviewed on international TV that day. So luckily, I was wearing the suit. So I
right.
was.
So wait, which interview was more important? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. Did I tell you I was recognized?
You did. Yeah.
From that interview, but anyway,
we need to see you on Greek public access like immediately.
I mean, all you have to do, you can look it up. It's on YouTube.
Nice.
But no, I mean, I was nervous. And I expected you to really dig into me because I just expected you to be objective. And, I did not have as much time as I wanted to prepare. I did put together, I pulled out a couple lesson plans. I looked over them. I looked over, some, some old teaching stuff and procedure stuff. But I was like, it was a very stressful time. I mean, the night before, I left work at like 11 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would have left work at 10 o'clock, but 11 o'clock, I was able to pull some stuff and print some stuff out for the interview the next day. So it was intense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was for sure. She was like, you and granted, like before we like went through all the there were like 12 or 13 candidates, and you were for sure the one that she was pulling for. And it made me feel better that I was, a little bit harder on you just to make sure it was objective. But I was also like, maybe I should buy Peter a beer at some point after this. But no, I thought it was there were quite a few candidates that were in the running, but you definitely pulled away. So, and it was a fun phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's fun.
I was surprised. I was surprised because, like I said, it had been. I mean, it really hit home on April, whatever it was, because I got a Facebook memory. George had tagged me in a photo spying on my student teacher, and he took a picture of me through the window of the door. I didn't realize how often he was spying on me.
Just to check, yeah.
Yeah, but it hit home. I was like, fuck. From
like the in-person interview or the phone call when I got to tell you officially?
So it hit home that it had been 4 years.
Gotcha.
In April last year, in 2021, it's like it's been 2 years of pandemic.
Yeah.
Before that, it had been 2 years since my student teaching. So it was like, holy shit. And so when I got the phone call, it was like surreal because I did not expect it because it had been a while since my student teaching and I felt rusty. And so I was amazed. I was so happy. Yeah.
Good.
It was a great phone call.
Yeah. It was a fun phone call to do. I truly, in my third year, that's when I got to do that for Adam, and I was like, I shouldn't be doing this. And so doing that shortly after for that one, it was a really cool one to do.
Yeah.
And honestly, just cool to like we've known each other obviously, and we've done like classes, but to see you in a professional setting and to see worlds collide, like work people, and then you, and now that has become one. That's been really cool too.
Yeah.
But and yeah, hey, hopefully that obviously that comfort will come, but also we can branch out with other people and go
Yeah,
from there. But
for sure.
so no regrets.
No, no. I mean, this is I'm going on day 8 on Monday, so
Day 8.
it's just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, so still, some anxiety, still stuff like that, but it's definitely better for me. I'm happy. I mean, uh, in my life, and I've made it clear, like, I'm very proud to be Greek, and I'm very proud of Hellenism, and I've been fascinated by it in an intellectual sense,
Mhm.
not in a uh, cultural superiority kind of way, but in an
White
intellect,
capes.
yeah, in an intellectual sense since I was young, and so it was fun for me to work in a Greek nonprofit, but it was at the same time not as fulfilling as teaching was, because when I student taught, I would come home at least once a week saying, okay, I made a little bit of a difference today.
Sure.
And it happened with me yesterday. We've been doing primary source reading and world studies, and this girl, she's a sweet girl, but she has an ankle monitoring bracelet.
Yeah, we got quite a
Yeah, yeah. And she said to me, she's like, we're reading Hammurabi's code, and I mean, there's some crazy laws, and she's like, this shit's wild. She's like, this is fun. And I was like,
Ah, there you go.
no shit.
That's that small little snippet. Yeah.
I mean, just her saying that was fun made me feel so much better. I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of a conversation today about, how these laws aren't fair, and I was saying, and so we had a conversation about how, they might not be fair by our standards today,
Right.
but, 4,000 years ago, they might be fair.
Yeah. And then you connect it to, stuff today with our laws, quote unquote, fair, but then are they enforced fairly? I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And if she didn't like the lesson, you just threatened to unplug the charger on her ankle monitor and then see what she does. But, well, hey, man, I mean, I'm glad that, it worked out. And I know that you were a little bit, nervous and hesitant, but seriously, the first 2 weeks are always the most overwhelming. And now it's, especially once you're going to be done working Saturdays or whatever days it is at the society, so much easier.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah. We'll have some sort of update soon.
Yeah.
But hey, everybody that's listening, Peter is now coworker Peter. So that's pretty cool. So that's the only reason you're back on this podcast. You were done. You're done. No. But no, it's cool to be able to have some worlds collide and to work with you. And I'm truly excited. And I know 100% like the candidates that we looked at, there were a lot of great ones, but you seriously, you stood out above all of them.
Thank you. And I'm really happy to be back in it, truly. I mean, it's been an odyssey.
Nice.
To bring back, bring it back to my culture, right?
Right. You're Romanian, right? Not Greek at all? Yeah. I like it.
So, no, I mean, it has been, and I'm glad to be back. And like I said, it's just the little moments like I just described that really hit home for me. And, and two, it'll give me to fulfill that sense of, promoting Hellenism. I know I'll be able to do that in my class in some sort of way, even if I'm teaching U.S. history. It can always come through, and I know how to tie it in, and eventually I'll be able to tie it in to make it more interesting for kids too.
Yeah,
but
100%.
So I know I made the right choice.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I remember there was that one day you're like, I might resign. I'm like, no. So I'm glad we're sticking to it.
Well, I said that because I felt like I was so bad.
And then I looked at it and you're like, you're seriously fine. So that's
that
a
it was
relief.
just like, yeah, I need to, for the sake of the kids, I need to resign.
And the only reason I bring it up is 'cause I feel like everybody in their first year says or thinks that at least once or twice. So we got the one out of the way. That was our glitch for this mission.
Yeah. We'll see when the second one comes.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll do our best to avoid it. But
Yeah.
everybody at home, or maybe you're driving or you're at the school itself, if you are, I don't recommend doing this during class. But thanks so much for listening. Patreon.com/classroom brew. Subscribe to us there. That's where you get all that extra stuff. Rate and review whatever app. And until next week, class dismissed.
Classroom brew on Patreon. Koozies and coasters, shot glasses, bonus content and voting power. Lish Cromwell from Minnesota has 1,000 classrooms. That shit is crazy, but that's Minnesota. Leo Sanchez got a lot of land. He's been on the pod. It was really grand. He's teaching in person during COVID. Sabrina Bachman from Ohio teaches French class, but I don't remember French. Sorry for my teacher who taught me French. You were really cool, but that was years ago. This dude beat cancer, getting real strong. He posts it on the gram, he's a real badass. James Biner, that's fucking right, James Biner. Cindy Montoya from California, Lazy Teacher Podcast, that's a bad look. Definitely not lazy, big time podcast fan. Melinda Bradley, she's from Florida, wore PPE for her staff photo. That's Melinda Bradley. Classroom brew, check it out on patreon.com.